All right. Hi, everybody. Let me know if levels are okay or if some things are too loud or too quiet. Because I think it would be fun to play music during this, so there is music happening, but let me know if it's too loud. But otherwise, thank you all 18 of you for joining me for this very impromptu stream. Yeah, I hope you are all having wonderful weekends, and I hope that you are all prepared for the week ahead. But what I would like to do today is go through some of the documents from the 1930s that I have here. Again, turn that down a little bit because I can't hear myself think. Alright, so as I mentioned in my video about Sonora Bab, I have been doing some research into the 1930s because I am working on a big writing project that doesn't really have anything to do with the channel. It's sort of like my own thing, but as part of it I've been doing some sort of like historical research, and what that includes is getting a whole bunch of documents and what's called ephemera, which is basically like just like real life stuff from historical periods. So things like letters and banknotes and grocery lists and just like the normal stuff of everyday life. So I've been gathering that. I actually have like a huge stack over here. I don't think you can see it, but I have a huge stack over there on the couch of stuff, like pamphlets and things, that I would like to share with all of you at some point. But today what we're going to be looking at is scrapbooks. And part of the reason why I want to do this is because of a conversation I had the other day with a friend of mine, the Armchair Egyptologist on YouTube, whose work is wonderful. You should go check them out. They are great. But he and I were talking, and something that he's made a video about before is why he doesn't show mummies on his channel, because his channel is all about like Egyptology and historical ancient Egypt, stuff like that, and he doesn't show mummies. And you know, he's had comments and stuff like, you know, you're an Egyptology channel, why don't you show this? And he said that the reason why is because there's this like essence of humanity, I guess, that is like in mummies and in humans, and that he's just not comfortable making that sort of like a spectacle. And so we were chatting about that, and I realized that I had a sort of similar feeling when I was looking through these scrapbooks when I first got them. That there is something about seeing people from a long time ago and realizing that they lived full lives and were just normal human beings, and, you know, went on dates and had drinks with friends and had pets and just like lived and had birthdays and weddings, and there's just something very like odd about it, and something very like touching, I guess. And so since that was kind of on my mind and I wanted to start sharing some of these 1930s documents, I figured I would share with you some of the scrapbooks, so that we can look at these now all dead people together and see how that goes. I apologize if you can hear my dog barking. Yes, sonder is the word for that. Let's see, L Skyline says, are those books just rainbow colored by chance, or did you specifically buy them that way? good question. So they just sort of happen to be rainbow colored. I did not buy any books specifically because I wanted them to fit in the rainbow. I just happened to have all of these books and decided to organize them by color. But the other day I was on Etsy. I think it was Etsy. It was either Etsy or Amazon. But I try not to use Amazon, so it was probably Etsy. And one of the things that was recommended to me, like one of the suggested things, was a collection of rainbow books. And that's when I realized, like, oh, I guess some people do just buy books like for the aesthetics of them. Which I didn't realize. I just sort of, I don't know, I'm I guess a little bit naive when it comes to things like that. In that I always just sort of like assume that things are done, you know, without that kind of thought process behind them. But no, that is not the case with me. These were just books that I had and organized this way. And no shade to anybody if you do buy books just for the aesthetics, like, hell yeah, like there are things that I get just for the aesthetics, and that's, you know, there's no shaming happening here. So he's telling us she would never objectify a book. Would I never objectify a book? Probably. Maybe. I don't know, because then you get into the debate of, you know, is it okay to, like, take apart a book to make art with it? Like people do sometimes those, like, carvings out of books. I don't think that books have any sort of, like, inherent, like, I don't think that they're inherently, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, there's no sort of, like, special value that they have, I think, as physical objects. But I don't know. I know that that is something that is sort of hotly debated. Wait, was it random books they were selling? The one that I saw, the ad that I saw, was a collection of, like, classics, quote unquote. Like, it was, you know, like Great Expectations and Moby Dick and like The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and things like that. But they were all, like, colorful, similarly bound books. But of course they were all different heights. Like, they were obviously not all from the same publisher or anything, because that would, like, they're trying to it's that, like, inauthentic authenticity, I guess, of, like, I'm buying all of these things together and I'm buying all of them for this specific purpose, but I don't want it to look like I'm doing that, which is a whole other thing. And again, no shame in doing that. I get it. Let's see. Attempted Wholesomeness says, hey, I just want to pop in and say that I love you and your channel. Thank you, Attempted Wholesomeness. I think that that wholesomeness has succeeded. I forgot the word there for a second. Don't judge a book by its cover. They're literally doing that. Yeah. I saw a YouTube video where he ordered one of the collections and actors. Oh yeah, that's oh, what's his name? I know who you're talking about. And I've seen a couple of his videos. He does, like, reviews of celebrity poetry books. I think that's how I found him. He's British, but I forget his name. All right. So I think before I jump into looking at the scrapbooks, well, first of all, I have 2 of them to choose from, and I can let you guys choose which of the 2 you would like. So I have, let me make sure which one is which. Okay, so I have this one, which is a family, and there's a lot of, like, traveling in it. It's a lot of, like, travel pictures. And then I have this one, which is much more like just normal family stuff. So Whether you would prefer the green one or the black one, just let me know, and we might be able to get to both, but whichever one we start with will be up to you. Spoiler, they were awful. I am not surprised. I don't think I watched that video, but I do know of it. But before we get into actually looking at the scrapbooks, I think it might be helpful to give a brief overview, I guess, of the 1930s, just to give some like context to what it is that we will be looking at. So, 1930s were a rough time in US history. That is the time of the Great Depression, which happened because the 1920s were a time of a lot of economic prosperity and things were great, and then the stock market crashed for various reasons. And because the stock market crashed and the banks basically ran out of money, like people who had money in banks weren't able to get their money out of the banks when the stock market crashed. And so people suddenly had no money, and because the stock market crashed, corporations lost a lot of money, so they had to lay a bunch of people off, so nobody had any jobs. So things were real bad. And so the president during the 1930s, the early 1930s, was Herbert Hoover, and his plan for what to do about the Great Depression was just to kind of, you know, let it happen. He was very economically conservative, and so it was very much like a laissez-faire, like let's deregulate and that'll make things better. And it didn't, probably unsurprisingly. And in fact, it made a lot of things worse, where things continued getting worse, I guess, under his presidency. And there was this increase in like homelessness, for example, and people who lived in these like tent city or like shanty towns, they called them Hoovervilles because the president is the one who caused them to have to live like that, because he didn't do anything about the economic disaster that the US was going through. But then FDR was elected, Franklin Roosevelt was elected, and he tried to make things better by implementing a lot of federal programs, and a lot of them were focused on things like infrastructure and spending federal money to help give people jobs and working opportunities, especially things like building roads, like the highway system was like a big push of his during the 1930s, and like dams and national parks and agriculture stuff. A lot of those kinds of things that would like promote long-term growth, theoretically. And that helped. But as part of that, there was also this, I don't remember the actual name for it, but there was a system where families, or individuals, I guess, people could buy acres of land in the Midwest and like for super cheap if they used it for farming, like for agriculture. And so you had this huge wave of people buying up all the land in the Midwest and using it for farming. And these people were not farmers for the most part, were not trained farmers. They were, you know, ex-bankers and grocers and, you know, people who had like normal jobs who were going out and doing farming because that was the only job available and it was cheap and easy, so they thought. So you had all of these amateurs going out there and planting all of these plants and using the, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the tilling methods that they thought were best, and ended up basically destroying the ecosystem because they were just pulling up all of this dirt in order to plant their crops, and it was like destroying the natural grasses that kept the ecosystem together, like literally kept it together. And that's what caused the Dust Bowl. That and like, so the farming combined with drought, everything went to shit. That's what caused the Dust Bowl. Things were very, very bad. Eventually things got better, and then World War II happened, and then that's that. So that's the decade of the 1930s that we're working with here. And so, you know, things weren't great, but as we will see, you know, individuals and individual families did find ways to make it through, and, you know, people were still having families, and there were still people with jobs and people who were, you know, quote unquote, like, normal, I guess is the word for that. People who weren't suffering quite as much. And those are the people whose lives we will be looking at. Capitalism being the reason. Yeah. Ecosystem. That's a good word. Okay. So, ooh, I wanted to ask if you've played Kentucky Route Zero, Night in the Woods, or Life is Strange. I've played Kentucky Route Zero and Life is Strange. I've started Night in the Woods, but I have not finished it because I think grad school happened while I was playing it, and so I was like, I can't focus on video games because school. Okay. Let's see. Ooh, one day people will talk about people who lived through 9/11 and COVID-19 like we talk about the 30s. Yeah. I mean, that's a... I don't know how much of this is true because I'm not an economics expert, but some of the recessions that we've had, like the 2008 like housing crisis, and there was one, I don't know, a few years ago, I think, I don't remember, that people said that some of the rates of unemployment and something else, but at least the rate of unemployment was as high as it was during the Great Depression. So to put that into perspective, yeah, things have been rough. I think hopefully the 2020s won't be as bad as the 1930s, but yeah, it is interesting to think about how people will look back on these times that we're living through. And it's, I don't know, it's weird to think that someday we're gonna be history that people read about. And that's kind of weird. And it is weird for my brain to think about, so we are going to move on. Oh. Have you played Stardew Valley? I have not. I'm not really into, like, those kinds of games, I guess. Well, I say those kinds of games, like Stardew Valley and Harvest Moon and stuff. Not as into those. More like Minecraft and Animal Crossing sort of style, I guess, of those kinds of games. When you edit your videos, do you often stop at frames where you pull a grimace and wonder how funny that looks? Yes, I do. Worker cooperatives usually tend to fail less during economic crises than privatized businesses of the same size. Yes, that is true. Worker cooperatives, and a lot of like labor unions and labor collectives and things, were able to stay stable during the 1930s. Ooh, regarding the Dust Bowl, there's a television series called Carnival, set in 1930s, about good and evil and magic in the American Depression. That actually sounds really, really interesting. Lucky for me that I'm wholly irrelevant in the span of history, won't need to be read about in a textbook. Simply one of the dwellers. Yeah, there is a comfort in knowing that people won't really focus on your life as a part of history. On that note, let's focus on the lives of these individuals that did not plan to be focused on. This is why I should look at chat, because I just realized you can't hear me. So I'm gonna go fix that. Be right back. All right, can you hear me now? Hopefully. You really love the transition? Thank you. This is just a built-in, or not like built-in, but a pre-made thing that I also really liked. Okay, perfect. Is there any way to catch your attention? Yeah, I know, it's, that's on me, but thank you all for letting me know. Okay, so I guess you didn't hear any of the things I was saying. So let's see if I can remember all the things I said. If any of you are worried about me handling these very old documents, I did some research when I first got these, and what the actual experts say is that as long as the things that you're handling are not like ancient, you don't need gloves or anything. Just make sure that your hands are dry and clean. And I did wash my hands right before this, so they're good. I think that was it. That is all that I remember. So now we're all caught up. Now we're good to go. Okay. This is a scrapbook. I'm glad they told us. Okay. So here we have this family. Let's see if I can get rid of some of that glare. Maybe not. Okay. So we have a family here, and this scrapbook is mostly full of their traveling. No Cheetos in the archive room. Yeah. For a lot of these, there are, well, I don't actually know for a lot of them, but some of the pictures I have gently removed from their little pin things that are holding them in, and some of them do have names and dates on the back. So while I don't want to remove all of them, if there are any in particular that you want me to take out so that we can see any names or anything, just let me know. So this says Alpine, Arizona, June 1930. And this document here is actually a fishing license, which I think is really funny and very cute. So here we have Ruth Wholesomeness, I believe is how that's pronounced. It looks like Posnes, from the state of something that I cannot read. She was 17 years old and she got her fishing license, and that is the sweetest thing. And there's something so like heartwarming about the fact that she wanted to like memorialize this fishing license that she got, which is just very sweet. And I believe, now I don't know this for sure, but I believe that this is her on this horse. And I suppose we can gently remove it without getting our fingers all over it. Maybe not, it feels like it's glued up there. Gentle. This is so nerve-wracking, I'm so nervous. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Nope, just June 1930. Let's get this back in there. There we go. But I believe that this is our girl, Ruth. Right, yes, Ruth. Because she looks about 17. Maybe. I don't know. Something that I've noticed since teaching college is that I have a really skewed idea of what people look like. And that like I'm really, really bad at guessing age. But so my guess is that this is like a younger brother and a dad, perhaps? I can't tell. Is this a child or an old man? Context, what was the social status of a 17-year-old person at the time? How adultish was it? That's hard to say, because I think that it, like, 17-year-old boys, I think were, like, seen as men, but I think women a lot of the time were seen as more girlish until they got married. But again, not an expert, but yeah, but that is a good question and very interesting. What animal is that? Ooh, down here. This is a bear, and this one makes me real sad because it's on a chain, and it's just like a bear that you get to interact with as a tourist at this Arizona state park, which makes me a little sad, and I'm glad that animal rights have come a long way since 1930. 7-year-olds can walk and talk. Yeah. Do not antagonize the bear. Yes. All right, let's actually see if there's anything on the back of this one to give us some context about this bear. There we go. I know fingerprints are bad, so I'm trying to minimize. Here we go. Nope, June 1930. Some of them did have names on the back, I swear. Something that is interesting to me, goodness, is how good the quality of the photographs is. And I don't know, like, I don't know why I think that old pictures shouldn't be, like, good. But in my head, it's still, like, surprising. I'm gonna autofocus this. It's still surprising that, that they are. That they're not just, like, incredibly fuzzy. Okay. So this is the thing with the fishing license that I love. Like, look at all of these fish. Like, it's uncountable the amount of fish that these people have gotten from their one fishing license. Like, look at this. It's just, it's so funny to me. Let me see if I can make the brightness a little bit. Is that better? Is that worse? Who knows? Okay. Also, they're feeding water? Are they dumping water into the bear's mouth? That's sort of what it looks like, is like a bottle that they're dumping into there. Who knows? It could have been like Coke. Like the bear is drinking Coke. Again, makes me very, very sad. Here he is feeding the bear. Ooh, and this looks like it says Red Crown Gasoline. I know you can't read that, but from my perspective, it says Red Crown Gasoline. And let's see. I guess question is, do you think that this is the 17-year-old? All right, let's see if they have this one. No, June 1930. Now I think that it was, oh gosh, I want to say that it was this one that had the name on it. Nope. I feel like this book is gaslighting me in that I never did actually see anything with names on it. All right. Yeah, she does look a little bit older than 17 to me, but then I don't know who Ruth is, but I wonder if in the future people are going to be like, I can't believe people used to keep goldfish in little bowls. To be fair, what I have heard from actual people who like keep aquariums and stuff is that bowls are bad for goldfish. So probably. Yeah, weren't fishing for sport, they were fishing to eat. Delicious cocaine water. Yep. That's true. To Witherward. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I do wonder if maybe they were able to catch so many fish because there were just more fish. But yeah, that is a thought that I had. Cocaine-fueled bear sounds dangerous to me. Yes! Volters says, so old pictures are better quality because of the process. Old digital photos are worse quality than photos from the earliest 20th century. That's really interesting. And that does make sense, I guess. I mean, thinking about like the photograph process. Alfred Make says, hi Zoe, love your videos. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for being a part of the stream and joining us and being a part of the community. The fishing license is from the same year as the photos. Yes. At least the photos that I've looked at do say 1930 on the back, and the fishing license is from June 1930. That is my guess. You pronounced it right, it's Old English, so weird word. Yes, Old English is weird. You guys put goldfish into tanks? Kind of. Pig says moo. I appreciate the pun. I am a fan. Okay. Let's move on. So here we have a family, and it looks like this is a family of, like, not the people who we just saw pictures of. I can zoom in a little bit there. Because I think that this is a different family that maybe they just saw and hung out with while they were out and about and doing their thing. So that's fun. Okay. I wonder if it says. Maybe. And this is a giant rock. Probably still in Arizona. I think most of the pictures in this are from, nope, are from out west. Because I think that that's where this family lived based on some of the other documents that we will see here. Here we go. And this says August 1931 up there. And we have the petrified forest and that says Grand Canyon National Park. Sadly the camera is not good enough to pick that up, but... And then we have this couple standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon, which is very cool. Something that is like weird, at least for me to think about, is like it's, I don't know. It's one thing to see people in like old pictures of people in just like generic places like a forest or, you know, their home. But it's another thing to see them in like either places that you've lived or like your hometown or these like famous locations. It is one of those things that really like works to like connect you to them. I think that you have shared ties to similar places. I've never been to the Grand Canyon myself, but I have been to some of the other places in this book that they have gone to. And so it's just like, I don't know, it's odd, but like in a good way, I think. Ooh, creative writing project for your lit class. Go have fun with that. That sounds great. Our albums, pictures, and maybe letters might be analyzed by people in the future after we'll all be gone, and it's a weird thought. It is a weird thought. Skeptical Kekleon. That's a great username. Okay. Also hello as well. Not just how great your username is. I also do want to say hello. Okay. This is the more Grand Canyon stuff. The El Tovar Hotel, Grand Canyon National Park, and Hermit's Rest, Grand Canyon National Park. And this is a Hopi house. And it looks like, because this isn't a photograph, it is a drawing, and I wonder how much of that is like actually there. And how much of it is just what they expect that those cultures and homes were like back then. This guy, or woman, I don't know, this person here that is sitting here with this hat and this thing in their hand and just sitting on this thing looking very cool. This random person is cooler than I will ever be in my whole life, and I love it. Also, this woman here, these people are just so cool to me. Like, I bet their lives were so incredibly interesting. I mean, I'm sure that they would think the same of us, but it's just so cool to see the like individuality, I guess, of people, because when we think about people from history, we think of them in terms of like groups. I mean, like even when I was describing some of like the 1930s culture and stuff, it was like, yeah, everybody was struggling and everybody did this and everybody did that. But everybody is made up of individuals, and so it's just really cool to actually get to see those individuals, since we don't get a lot of that when we're thinking about history. In the future, if things like Instagram accounts are still around or preserved, that could be interesting for people to go through and try to understand us. Yeah, I think that social media has made things like Scrapbook, like that's going to be what our version of Scrapbooks are. I mean, I know people still like keep scrapbooks, but you know what I mean. It sounds like this division I've heard about through preservation author David Lowenthal. He separates history and story as vital aspects to preservation. History being more factual and a story being a personal quality people use to tie themselves to historic relics or buildings. That is really interesting and something that I will have to think about, because there is a future project that I'm working on, collaborating with another content creator on, that is sort of related to that. So that is, I'm going to keep that in my brain. Thank you. So we have more permits here. Parking permits, a permit to operate a motor vehicle at the Grand Canyon. For any of you who have been to the Grand Canyon, you may need to let me know how much of this is still like in my head, you're not allowed to drive in or near the Grand Canyon. But I guess like the other national parks that I've been to, like there are roads and you do have to like get a permit and stuff. So maybe I'm just not thinking about things in a way that makes sense. Which could totally be it. Oh, my music ended. Let's bring it back. Okay. I hope no one will preserve Twitter. Yeah, same. Imagine being someone in 200 years watching us get sloshed with the boys on a Saturday night and thinking we were cool or cute. Yeah. Ooh, the past is a foreign country. That's, I like that. I don't have a pen. Oh, goodness. Okay, I do have a pencil. Thank you for that recommendation. I am live on Twitch. Give me a new love for English. I'm so glad. That makes my heart very happy. Is it a parking ticket or is it a just like... Okay, this permit is issued and accepted subject to the regulations governing the park and entitles the permittee to right of passage over any or all of the roads open to traffic within the park. Oh yeah, so I guess it is just a... You're allowed to use a car if there's any places to use a car. There's at least some good on Twitter too. Some being the word that is doing a lot of work in that sentence. Okay. Well, that's... So, bus fare here. Round trip. Not very much money. Okie doke. All right, now this is something that I may need some of your help with, because I have never been to the Grand Canyon. I've been near the Grand Canyon. I've been to the Hoover Dam, which is not exceptionally far away. But when I was in Arizona and Utah and that area, I never saw sand dunes like this. And I know that there are sand dunes in like Idaho, That's like the thing that they have is those like big sand dunes. But this is like, where is this? You know what? Let's see if there's a... Oh, there is. Mojave Desert, spelled with an H. That's great. Oh, you can't see that. Mojave Desert, Southern California, August 1931. Me. That's... Oh, I love this. Okay, so they're in the Mojave. I guess I was able to have that question answered. I wonder, do you think that this is Ruth? Ruth of the fishing permit? She looks about 17 or 18. I mean, I think she looks younger than that, but if a year ago she was 17, then... So I wonder if this one also has information on it. Ooh, yep. Mojave Desert, Southern California, August 1931. Hilda and Lonnie. I love this so much. Oh, Hilda and Lonnie. Oh, they're so wonderful. I bet I can get this to focus a little bit better. Yeah, nope. What if we cover this up? Oh, that was the wrong thing. This is the thing I want. Yeah, there we go. Look, Hilda and Lonnie. I love them. Okay. Let's focus back on that and put this back. These are like the treasures that I love is finding names of people. Now, the question that I have is, since she referred to them by their first names, do you think that they are like brother and sister, or like sister and, you know, sister's husband? Because I think if they were parents or something like that, it would be, you know, mom and dad. It wouldn't be Hilda and Lonnie. So, and I guess if we think that this is Ruth, I don't know. It's just, it's interesting to try and piece things together. Oh, queso? I don't know how that's supposed to be pronounced. I assume it's queso, since it is probably in the South. Yeah, no close-up shots of faces. I think there are in the other one, which we might get to today. Could also be friends. That is also a thought. All right, we have the Coolidge Dam and the Mariner Apartments and Hotel and West Beach Apartments. Oh, Long Beach, California, where I have also never been. Catalina Island. What's sad though is, like, you know how much worse beaches are now. And like the town that I moved to is on the coast, so like it is a like beach town, and I mean East Coast, not West Coast, but whenever we go down to the beach and drive past all of the like resorts and the hotels and the like, not townhouses, that's not the word I'm looking for, but the like rental properties that are just all along the beach, it's like, how long until there is no more open beach anywhere? Like, how long until we just have built so much commercial, like how long until we have totally commercialized every beach, you know? And it kind of breaks my heart. So sounds weird to put names of people you know by heart. I guess. I don't... we were never like a scrapbook family. Like I never did scrapbooking. So I don't know what the like conventions of scrapbooking are. I don't know if that is like a normal thing. I think some of that is normal, but all right, so this says, it's a little bit hard to see, October 1931, and let me actually get a Cleveland something, they're Cleveland something road, and something picking. It looked like pinion picking, some kind of like they're picking some kind of thing together as a family is what that seems to be saying. Hunting season, Mimbris Gate, November 1932. I don't know what Mimbris Gate is, but also, look at this. She's standing on these rocks in heels, which that is one of the things that I am very glad for in the cultural shifts since the 1930s, is not having to wear heels. Pumpkin picking. Could it be pumpkin? I don't think it's long enough to be pumpkin, and it looks like an eye there. It's hard to say. I know some North Carolina beaches I went to as a kid that were pretty residential, but now have just been turned into huge resort areas. The ones left are pretty exclusive to very wealthy or lucky families who've lived there for decades. Yeah. As a Brazilian, it's super weird to think about that. About beaches being commercialized, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's, as a Brazilian, then question like how, because there are a lot of like pictures and things up, especially like during Carnival and things like that, where you have like just so many people there and you know, partying and stuff. So I guess the question is, are there a lot of still, you know, undeveloped beaches and things? I mean, if they're picking something in October, I just assume mushrooms. In the 1930s, probably not, but could be. Family mushroom picking. And now they, oh, I don't know what that says either, but it looks like April of 1932. Some kind of dam. And then here, a little fishing area, it looks like. Yep, more fishing. Rio Grande. Largest artificial reservoir in the United States. Elephant Butte Dam. All of these places I've never been to. Oh, this one is really funny to me. So they went down to Mexico, I guess, because they were in like the southern US, so they just took a trip on down to Mexico. And it says Central Cafe, Bienvenido, which means in English, welcome. Which, like, I know that, like, yes, not everybody knows what bienvenido means, but it's just so cute that they lay it out so clearly like that. So yeah, this is, let's not get fingerprints all over the pictures. It's a cafe dinner from this place in Mexico, which is so great. Let's see. venison, wild duck, quail, and on special occasions, bear meat. Yes, go to Mexico for the bear meat. 6 cents to ride on the streetcar. 6 cents for what is basically a bus trip. Wild. I mean, I guess we could see how much 6 cents was in... Well, I'm not gonna do it right this second, but we could. Onion picking could be. You have some fancy closed beaches, of course, but the majority is open to the public. Let's see. Oh, wait, you're Brazil. Oh, no, I was asking, who was it? Transhusco from, because they were saying that they were Brazilian, and so I was asking them about their experiences as a Brazilian. I am not Brazilian. I am, yes, from West Virginia, pretty much exclusively. All right. This. It says new M something, but nothing any further than that. So my guess, New Mexico something, some giant cave in New Mexico. I've never been to New Mexico. Have I ever been to New Mexico? No, I have not been to New Mexico. So I don't know anything about the caves there, but it looks like there's some sort of like huge cave system there that is very cool. I'm super into caves, super into like spelunking and stuff. And actually, as it happens, the writing project that I'm working on has to do with caves and spelunking as well. Oh, I am all zoomed out. Okay. Now we have this Happy Easter. May Easter be a garden spot within a sunny year, sweet with flowers of friendship and gay with springtime cheer. Bill. Nice, Bill. So cute. Okay. And this... Make sure I'm... So I think that this was the envelope that it came in. It appears. And this is an Easter greeting by Western Union. Western Union is a train company, or was a train company, I believe. Ooh. Oh, we have a telegram here. Sincerest wishes for all the joys that come with the Easter season. T.P. Gallagher. From New York to George Baldwin in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Very cool. Oh, and one more. Ooh, someone got flowers from Rossiter's Flower Shop in Albuquerque. Mrs. George Baldwin. So George Baldwin's wife, whose name we will never know because the way that they referred to women back then was by referring to them as their husband's name. May you have a joyous Easter. From me, J.P. Gallagher. Cute. Oh, if I can get it back in. There we go. All right. picture of Billy the Kid. And some men doing business. Any information? No information about these men. One of these could be J.P. Gallagher. Oh, goodness. Here we go. One thing that I did kind of hate about the 1930s, or I guess I do kind of hate about the culture of the 1930s, men's hairstyles, not good looking, I think. I don't think that either of these men have hair that looks nice. That's what I will say about that. I'm sure they were wonderful people, but their hair was not wonderful. I should probably be kinder to people who are dead, but alas. Alright. More pictures. Now this guy looks nice. No information on any of the backs of any of them. Now what would be interesting is that this flag wouldn't have 50 stars on it, if we could see the stars, because there were not 50 states during the 1930s. I believe. I could just be making that up, but I think so. Alright, I think that we are finished with this one. It doesn't look like there's any other photographs in here, so the mysteries of this family may never be solved. But what we can do is move on to the second of the scrapbooks that I have, or we can call it for the day, and we can do the second one in another stream, probably sometime this week, whichever you would prefer. I will leave that up to you guys, because I can go either way on that. Easter duck. Oh yeah. I wonder if Western Union is the same that now does predatory loan service. Could be, honestly. Doing business looks a lot like smoking and drinking to me. What is the difference? Did Gallagher include any watermelon seeds in the flowers? Probably not. This feels magical in a way. I had the same feeling when I was watching old family photos of my grandparents and great-grandparents. Yeah, there is just some like odd essence to it that's kind of indescribable. Where did you get these scrapbooks? eBay. Actually, there's a lot of people who just have these old things, either from like old family members and they want to get rid of them, or you know, estate sales of families that don't have anyone to give any of this stuff to, so they just sell it. But I was able to snag a couple of them. Can I ask some extra context on where you got the scrapbooks? Yes, eBay. How long have you been live? Oh, I don't know. An hour, just over an hour. Do you miss going through photo books at thrift shops? Oh, I wish that that was a thing. I wish that was a thing that I had access to. I've never seen scrapbooks at thrift shops. That would be very cool though, just to be able to just flip through. All right, the head of this is very. All right, now hopefully the lighting isn't too bad. It's a little washed out. Let's see what I can do about that. There are lots of dogs in this one, so that's exciting. there's lots of dogs. And this one, I know it's hard to see. It looks kind of like a baby owl. There, it is not. It is a little dog next to this bigger dog. And it's wonderful. The one thing that does make me sad, though, is just like how all of the people in these photos, unless they're like infant babies, all of the people are probably dead because this was almost 100 years ago. And then, thus, so are all of the animals. And it breaks my heart. But they are such good boys. And that warms my heart. So, we have some families in the snow. I know the pictures aren't super great quality. These ones aren't. So it is not just that the camera's not great, it's that the actual photos aren't great. But yes, good puppers. Have you looked through this one already? I have flipped through, I haven't like done a deep dive, but I have like flipped through just to make sure that there was, you know, actually stuff worth looking at together. But yes, all right. Oh goodness, this one is much wider, so I have to move things around. Okie doke. Ah, yes. Here's the little, the little dog. I don't even know what kind of dog it is. It's a little bit, it has kind of like a scrunchy face. I don't know if I can, there we go. A little scrunchy face. More snow. This good pup. All the snow. I think this is a dog too. But again, these couple of pictures are not great quality, but I think that this is like some kind of black German Shepherd almost, it looks like. Is there a dog? Yeah, this is a dog. You can see the ears. The tiny little dog. And this one's upside down. The frown on the small dog. Yes. Oh, yeah, some of these pictures do look older, but I do believe that these are, at least many of them are from the 1930s, because some of them do have dates on the back. But yeah, like these ones, just because of the like odd coloration of them, they look like they could be like 70s pictures. But these dogs, I do know for sure are from the 30s, just because of some later pictures that are dated. All right, so this woman, young woman here, oh, it's so washed out. Is there a way to fix it? Oh, and I have stuff on my arm. Okay. I wonder if I turn this light off if that helps. It does nothing. Okay. I would like to make it look not quite so washed out, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. There we go. So here's her in her awesome bathing suit. And her picture here. If I can, yeah, there we go. And this one, so I want to know what you all think. But this picture in particular, I think that she looks like Millie Bobby Brown, who is the actress from Stranger Things, who plays 11 in Stranger Things, and was also in Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I think that she looks like Millie Bobby Brown in this. And I think that that's funny or cool or something, I don't know. Just the white balance. Yeah, so this document camera I just got recently, so I still don't have, there are not a lot of settings to play with. I don't know how much the white balance will help, but I think once we, well, no, it really is not great. Let's see if I can mess with some settings some more. Or I could just make it look like that and you can't see anything, which would be, you know, that's ideal, right? Okay, so we have, ooh, yeah, because I think it's the light that's on my face, which I guess I could turn off if you don't really care what I look like. You know, let's do that. I'll be right back. I'm gonna turn off a light because I don't care what I look like. Alright, as you can see, I am much darker now, but it doesn't matter. I am not the main priority here. These pictures are. But I do think that this is a lot better for these. So, hopefully, that is good. I care what you look like. Well, I think these are more important. Alright, so these people are definitely from the 1930s, as you can tell by the cars and the dress. Something that I think is really interesting about these ones, which you can kind of see, especially on this one. So this, what looks like glare here, is actually not glare, like from any kind of light here. It's from the camera. Like from the it is part of the picture as it was taken. And you can see some of it here too, that it's got these like patches of white, like ghosty stuff. I'm sure that anyone who knows anything about photography would actually know a word for that, but I don't, so we're going with white ghosty stuff for now. Lens schmutz, possibly. Could be. From your channel content, you were already very dark to begin with. I don't know why I did finger guns, I'm sorry. Okay. And this woman, who I think she's the same as the Millie Bobby Brown woman, I think she's just making a different face. Whoops. But I think she is just so beautiful, and like she looks so cool. Like she is so like sophisticated, and like she looks like the kind of woman that like wouldn't take any shit from anyone about anything. And I love it. And like she's the greatest, this woman that I know nothing about, because these pictures, they could have things written on the back, but I wouldn't know because most of them are glued in, so we will never know who these people are, but they're very cool. She is very cool. She is. I want to be her friend. And now we have all these families, and you can see some of the like lens stuff again here. Like all of this is just part of the picture. And yeah, like I think she's wearing pants here, which for the 1930s, like what a power move. Like I love it. I want to be her friend. And here with, is that a dog? It is, it's two dogs. They have like a little, what looks like a terrier. He has like a terrier and she has like a tiny little something. I don't know. I don't know anything about little dogs or little dog breeds. But yes, they are very much a dog family. Single picture on this side, which looks like parents and, or maybe even like grandmother, father, and father's daughter. And here's some more pictures. I like that you can see the shadow of the guy taking the picture. This car doesn't look like it should be there. Now, I don't know much about 1930s vehicles, but I feel like they probably didn't do super well off-road. I don't know anything about like their suspension or whatever, and if they actually would do well off-road, but I worry that this car is never, like, was never able to get out of this ditch. And, you know, like maybe they had run it into this ditch and they were just taking a picture together to be like, oh, whoops. They did take many pictures in front of the car. They did. Ooh, schnitzel. That's funny. The schmutz on the photo is probably flaws in developing the print, either overexposure or accidental dodging and burning. Probably. All of those sound like things that could make sense. I think it was already more normalized for women to wear practical clothing because, of course, World War I. Right. Yeah, that's true. I think that pants did, like, were becoming more common in the like late 20s and 30s. Well, I guess and like the early 20s as well. So yeah, probably like turn of the century. Makes sense. Would this swimsuit be scandalous? I don't know. I think that if she showed any midriff, then it would, but because this is just like a belt, it's not like skin, it's probably fine. Probably. It's probably fine, but maybe, because they are, it looks like on a pretty private beach, so as long as it's not like a super public beach. Okay, oh. So many pictures in front of this car. And also, this dog is so cool. This dog is so, like, just absolutely chill. I love it so much. I think older cars were more made for less paved roads and handled well. That makes sense, actually. Didn't start paving a lot of roads until the 40s and 50s. We can afford a car, check it out. Yeah, that is probably, as far as 1930s, that does check out. Didn't cars cost about the same as a house? I don't know. Let's see, cost of cars in the 1930s. A new car in 1930 cost $600. A house in the 1930s cost $6,000. So, you know, 10% of a house, do with that what you will. It's... There's nothing that I can say about the car market or especially the housing market that all of you don't already probably know and agree with. So, here's this super cool woman yet again. Alright. One of the things about old pictures is that often, well, especially like much older pictures, like pictures from the 1800s, is that people didn't smile very much because they had to sit still for a long time. That was not the case for photographs later, like in the 1900s. People didn't have to like sit and let it, you know, do its thing for quite as long. But it's still, like, even still, people's facial expressions don't necessarily look natural. Like this guy, his face is just kind of like it doesn't look all that surprising. But her here, like, this could be like a modern, like a woman today dressing up as like a 1930s, in like a 1930s cosplay. Like something about the way that she's smiling and just all of it, it's like she looks, it's so like authentic that it's, I don't know, there's something very special about it, I think. I've seen worse selfies on Instagram. Yeah. Close up on the right. Yeah. Let me see if I can. Well, instead of zooming, why don't I lift it? And then autofocus. Though I do have, because my window, I do have it like closed and all the blinds and stuff drawn, but it still gets a glare. But let's see. Oh, no, it is off. Okay. But yeah, she's just so beautiful. I love it so much. Okay. And then let's refocus. Okay. More pictures of the family. And here she actually looks like somebody that I went to high school with. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe she just looks like familiar to me, and that's why why it feels so familiar, is because it feels familiar. I don't know. Hard to say. Okay. And look at her in this coat. I love it. Like, she's just so cool. I can't get over how cool this woman was. Okay. And I think that this is from the Hoover Dam. And I think this is from the Hoover Dam, because I think they have Hoover Dam pictures coming up as well. Did we figure out what part of America she lived in? I think she lived out west. Just based on architecture and like the houses look like Western, like California architecture during that time. And I think there are some later pictures that have palm trees in them. If I'm remembering correctly, I might be confusing it with a different thing. Ah, yes. So now this is the Hoover Dam. Look how cool she is. She is the absolute coolest. Hoover Dam, Hoover Dam. So I think what they maybe did is I think that they lived in like a city somewhere and then moved out west. Because here, like, he's clearly, like, they're like surveying this land that they bought. And like this road is very clearly different from like these roads. You know, like this is clearly like a paved road here. Whereas this, you know, is clearly not. Look at these people. Look at them. There's something so heartwarming about this. And I love it. And yes, they have a whole set of panoramas here. Panoramas? Is that how you pluralize that? And they are a little, like, they do have some of that sort of like fuzz. But yeah, we have this really cool office window here that I think is very, very neat. Oh, and yeah, I guess you can also see it up here. Well, and over here. But yeah, I don't know what kind of work she did. I mean, she was probably, just based on career prospects for women in the 1930s, probably did some sort of like secretarial or administrative work. Though she could have been like a journalist, I guess, or a photographer, or there were a lot of positions that women had in those days. This office looks really rad though, too. This might have been darkroom kind of technique to panoramas. Maybe one of them was a photographer. Yeah. Oh, so yeah, had to be taken with a special camera. That is neat. Rent or borrow camera equipment then? I don't know. Cause part of, and this is gonna be a future stream thing, but as part of my research into the 1930s, I found some photography from Margaret Burke White, who was a famous photographer in the 30s through like the 50s-ish. And she did a lot of like architectural photography, really interesting stuff. But I have a book of her photographs that we could flip through at some point, because she's also like really cool. There's just like so many really cool women from the 1930s that I feel like nobody knows enough about. So yeah, if you're interested in more like photography stuff, hell yeah, I can I can make that happen. So let's see here. I don't know where this one was. It's just kind of floating out in the open. These are just, oh yeah, but you can see like this is a palm tree. So I think that they were out west. And this guy shooting his gun. Very like Wild West. I don't think that's the same guy. How many men are there? I just like have trouble with faces myself, so it's hard for me to tell like who is who, and if like any of these people are the woman from the beginning, just because I struggle with that. And I think my music has stopped again because I don't have it on a loop. Okay. I'd love to see more of that. I like photography and working in historic buildings, so that's right up my alley. Well then I can make that happen for sure. Volters says, my great-grandmother immigrated from Poland to Latvia with her sister and another friend in the early 20th century. And from what I can tell, she had an interesting life, but she shared very little about her life in Poland or even her family, and no one really knows much about her life, and it's quite frustrating. I want to know more about this woman and who she was, but I'll probably never know. Yeah, that's one of those things that I think is so important about these kinds of things. And like, there is something like weird and that doesn't like sit quite right with me to have purchased these things. Like I do feel a little conflicted about it, because on the one hand it's a very cool artifact, but on the other, like, I feel like this should belong in the hands of the family. I mean, clearly the family didn't want it, but I feel like, you know, when I'm done with all the research I need to do, I would like to try and find these people somehow. But I think, like, imagine how many photographs of people have been thrown away. Like, imagine how many people lived 100 years ago and had, you know, 10 pictures taken of them in their lifetime, and now all 10 of those pictures are gone, have been destroyed or lost or forgotten or whatever, and now there will never again be a picture of that person. They are just lost. I think that's a tragedy, and so I think preserving pictures and preserving artifacts from people's lives is really important, and which is why I'm trying to take good care of these, and, you know, not put my fingerprints all over them, because it's just, I think that it's important to remembering people, is to have things like this and keep them for as long as possible. This very cool Christmas tree over here. Tiny little baby boy. Hope the afterlife isn't like Coco if their pictures are all gone. Yeah. Watching that film, yeah, it does make me a little bit sad. Bunch of photos from my grandfather and grandmother from the last 80 years, gonna be digitizing them soon. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I got the document camera that I got, is because it has a like digitizing tool, and not only for these scrapbooks, well, I don't even know if I will do it with the scrapbooks, just because that feels weird to have like digital pictures of someone else's family, but that whole pile of pamphlets and things that I have, like, I'd love to digitize those, not just for, like, you know, preserving the history of it, but also just so other people can use it. Like, that's something that I'd love to share with people, you know, like subscribers and patrons and stuff, is to share digital versions of the documents that I'm using in my life and research, if you all are interested in that. It feels weird to think that you all are interested in just like the mundane parts of my life. So now we have chickens and also more dogs. She has 2 dogs here. 2 dogs? Yes, 2 dogs. Cute puppies. I love that this is a dog family. Maybe that's why I like her so much, is because she's a dog person. There we go. so many of these dog pictures make my, like, they remind me so much of my puppy. And I mean, she's just like right downstairs, but it's like, dogs are so good, you know? Like, look at him sitting in the chair like he thinks he's a person. You know? It's so good. In this one, look at him. I love them so much. But yeah, my headcanon for this family is that they bought land out west and are tending it, as she is doing here. And they're just, you know, homesteaders. Ooh. In one instance, I'm reminded too that there's a weird mentality shift in family passing down furniture, and there's lots of beautiful antique furniture pieces, but more recently it's just more burdensome for their kids to take these heavier objects, especially when younger people move more frequently and live in smaller spaces, so it can easily become really overwhelming to hang on to. Yeah, that's actually something that my grandmother, when she like downsized her house after my grandfather passed away, my mom asked if there was anything from her house that I wanted, that she was getting rid of. And I told my mom that there was, you know, this certain like chest that I wanted, but that I would have no room for it, probably for a long time, until we live somewhere permanent, and have like a house, hopefully, that we own, you know, if that's something that is possible in the future. Who knows, given all of this, but yeah, like there's all of this really great heirloom stuff that just doesn't really feasibly seem, you know, realistic for young people to have. So yeah, it's hard, I guess, to decide like what is worth, like what kinds of heirlooms are actually worth holding on to and which ones, like how do you prioritize, I guess. Oh my gosh. Yet more dog pictures. And her looking rad here. God, I love dogs. Yeah, right? Like, they're so good. Antique furniture fell out of fashion at one point. That's true. Yeah, passing stuff on just isn't as practical as things are designed to break and be discarded now. Yup. This is the shift in consumerism culture, where antique furniture was made to be lasting. Most post-60s is made to be replaced and rotated per trend, styles, years, eras, etc. Well, and it's the same thing with fashion too. I mean, that's the whole concept of like fast fashion, right? Is that it's fashion is like basically made to go out of style. And it's, you know, it's so much better to buy things that are made to last and also made to be versatile and usable in a variety of situations, and which will never really go out of style, you know? Which is part of like that was sort of my philosophy with my engagement ring that I got when we got engaged. Is like, I want something simple that isn't gonna be like super gaudy and expensive, but also will just be simple and will go with everything and be, you know, something that will look good forever. Look how suave this family is with their nice radio. Fancy radio. These two women do not look thrilled to be here, though. pictures. Most of these I think are sort of reshoots that we've seen before. This one is interesting though. Let's see if I can... No. What I'm gonna do is actually close this so that it has no choice but to focus on this. Look at this guy. Look at how silly he is. I love it. Okay. Let's find the page I was on. Here we go. And refocus. Set these over here so they don't bend when I close the page. Oops. There we go. Look at this puppy. Look at how good of a boy he is. Oh, and the little tiny dog. And they're building a house, and there's more dog pictures. If anybody knows what kind of dog this is, like, I don't even know where I would begin figuring out a breed for this dog. It reminds me in a lot of ways of my German Shepherd, but the ears are definitely not Shepherd. Like, it looks almost like it could have some sort of, like, I don't know, like, not like beagle, but one of those kind of like more houndy sort of dogs, or like a terrier almost. Silly pictures are objectively superior to look back on because they convey so much more about a person than just a standard pose. Yes, that's the best pictures are the ones where people look like real humans. I love that this album has a lot of dogs in it. Yes. Yes, ideal. I have a challenging question for you all. In my own thesis writing, because I believe in the sustainability of making furniture last as antiques were, but this also means that we can change and alter it as our needs change. I think older fashion follows a similar line. So, is it right for me to make changes to antique furniture to justify its use in more contemporary context? For me personally, I don't do that and wouldn't do that, but that's just because I struggle with like any sort of big decisions and like permanent decisions. Like, that's why I don't have any tattoos, like not because I'm against tattoos, but because there's like this idea of like permanent changes that kind of freaks me out a little bit. Because permanency is like weird. So if the changes are permanent, then no. But if they're not permanent, then yeah, there's no harm in it, right? Ah. Dog. With sincere wishes for a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, May, Ted, and Ira Culver. I don't think that this family, this Culver family, is the family. I think that this is like from the Culver family to this family, so that doesn't help us identify them, but more dog. I do like this leather jacket, and it makes me wonder if like what era this is from, because nobody else looks like they're wearing like 50s clothing. But I don't know when leather jackets, other than like the 1950s, I don't know when leather jackets were in style. So I mean, I guess some of these could be 50s. I don't know. It's so hard to tell with a lot of these things. Ooh. And this is Betty Jane Dernberger. The faculty of Oakland High School announces the graduation exercises of the class of June 1936 in the school auditorium, Friday evening, June 12th, 1936. 8 o'clock. No flowers. So Miss Betty Jane Dernberger, which is a silly name. I shouldn't make fun of people for their last names. Who am I to do that, you know? But Miss Betty Jane graduated from high school in 1936. And that's so wonderful. Good for her. And then we have this, and this. Man on horse. What an... Whoa. Look at the muscles on that horse. Look at those arm muscles. Holy cow. I feel like there's a joke to be made there about cows and horses, but... Alright. Mr. Howard Dernberger in Pasadena, California. Merry Christmas to you, dear sweetheart. To wish for you, dear sweetheart, just every glad thing that your dear heart may long for and Christmas may bring. And that's that, I guess. Right? There's no... yeah. Merry Christmas to you. These cards are so... oh! So nice. I don't know if you can see the, like... I don't know what the actual word for this is, but it's like... it's like the holographic Pokemon cards. It's that, like, holographic sort of, like, pearlescent. Alright. Dear Howard, a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you. Yours for luck, Audine. A-U-I-D-I-N-E is what it looks like. Do you think Audine is Howard's wife? Why would she mail it if I guess it could be like a girlfriend. I don't know. Alright, I'm a little mesmerized by that. But these cards are so nice, like the metallic edge here, like this is a real three-dimensional ribbon. It's just very nice quality. I feel like if this were a modern Hallmark card, it would cost like $15. Why are cards so expensive? Is it just the material that they're printed on? I've never understood why cards are so expensive. I feel like they shouldn't be, but you know, let's not bend that. Ah. All right, now I do remember the first time I saw this, I was really confused as to what it was. So I looked it up, and this, I guess, is something that people in the military, or I guess the Navy specifically at least, it's like a joke thing. They like use it to tease each other. So this is the Grand and Exalted Order of Bomb Duckers. Know ye that Calvin T. Dernberger of the US Navy. Having had water leak into his bunk, had his pet bright work ruined. I don't know what that means. Had no food but sandwiches for 5 days, had to move his clothes 3 times, had his once good suit ruined, and having moved 4 tons of lumber, installed 3 cement patches, repaired 19 broken fittings, straightened 7 bent plates, swept up 10 piles of debris, and having cleaned the same spot for 4 successive days, and having demonstrated to the qualification board his ability to duck, is declared a bomb ducker. From Supreme Ducker Squash Clunk and Exalted Recorder Whoosh Smack in 1939. This last one says 1939. So it's just like a very silly, like, cute, you know, fake honor that I think is really endearing is a strong word for a thing from the military, I suppose, but it's silly. Do with that what you will. Oh. More man on horse and man in car. We are at the final page and the final image. Which doesn't have a date on it, but since it's in color, I presume it's from the 80s at least. And in my heart of hearts, I choose to believe that this woman is the wonderful, cool, beautiful woman from earlier in the scrapbook, and this is her and her husband, and on their 50th wedding anniversary. That is what I choose to believe. That's it. That is my headcanon, and choosing to believe that makes my heart very happy. And even if that is not the case, and this is a different couple, they look so genuinely happy. Like, that smile is so beautiful and heartwarming that it's beautiful either way, I think. So if anybody knows these people, let them know that I have all of their old pictures. Preferably in a way that doesn't sound that creepy. But, so yeah, that is a collection of 1930s photographs. Let's see if I can bring it back. Oh, I am very dark here. Yeah, it's so dark. Well, I guess I can turn the light on. And I wouldn't even worry about changing the camera. BRB. There we go. I look slightly more normal. Hi, yes, I'm a random woman from the internet. I have all of your pictures. Bouquet of Flowers looks vaguely like Maggie Simpson. It did. One day I found my mom's letters to my grandma from the early 80s when she lived in dorms as a teenager, and I particularly remember that in every letter she was complaining about the food. That's cute. I did find a Culver family in the US Census of 1940. Oh, it was Dernberger with an E, actually. Let me get a spelling for you. Yeah, DERNBERGER. So potentially, yeah, I didn't even think to like look at census data. That's a really smart idea. I just kept thinking like sharing it on Twitter or something. I don't know, like how do you reach a huge number of people that could work as like a grassroots thing? But yeah, no, census data makes so much more sense. Yeah, Dernberger with an E. D-E-R-N. And all of the vowels are E's in this name. Yeah, that's really, thank you for, yeah, in LA. Though, to be fair, you know, California was growing quite a bit. Oh, but yeah, Ira, Ted, and May. Yep. Wow. That makes me feel a little bit weird now. Like, it's one thing to see people's pictures, but it's another thing to like connect it with like real human beings. That's kind of weird. Oof. Robert Dernberger in 2015. He was born December 1st, 29. I don't know that that lines up. Unless it was a child of theirs. I don't know, because the thing that's hard with these pictures is that they don't have dates on them. At least not the ones from this photo album. But yeah, that is very helpful. Thank you for doing the hard work, Skeptical Kekleon. But it is 4:25. I have been live for about 2 hours and I am very hungry. I have not eaten dinner yet, so I think I'm gonna go make dinner. I am planning on making potato soup. I don't know why you all need to know what I'm having for dinner tonight, but it's gonna be potato soup. So thank you all for coming. I know it was impromptu. I know that it, you know, was just out of the blue, but yeah, I think this was a lot of fun, and I'm planning on, since you all seem to enjoy it, doing more of this, and looking through, maybe next time we'll look through some old, I have a bunch of old like etiquette pamphlets. I also have some old like labor rights pamphlets, which are pretty interesting. But yeah, sometime probably later this week we can go through some of that, or some of the like pictures from Margaret Burke White. But yeah, I will hopefully let you all know with more notice. But thank you for coming, and you know, stay safe, stay warm, and I will see y'all again in a later stream. Bye, folks. If I can end it, there we go. There we go. Okay, bye for real this time.